And I want to welcome you all to a very special next session. Mansi, stay here with me. After finance, like everybody was saying, there's everything covered over here. So we are not missing any piece of the puzzle towards your well-being and wellness. And coming up next is a panel of amazing, incredible artists. This panel has been specially curated by a dear soul sister who was with us earlier at the annual Women Economic Forum, Saskia Rao. And the theme is very, very special. This Saskia had come up with, she suggested, and we loved it. It's called Indian in Art, like a play on Indian in heart. These are all a group of incredible women artists who are all very well known over here, who have left their countries, made India their home, and embraced the art and culture of India with all their heart. Here's welcoming an incredible panel of sisters and thanking Saskia for this wonderful initiative. Please stay around for this very energizing penultimate panel of the day.
I will take the privilege of introducing Saskia Rao to you while she sets up. A world-renowned musician, someone who her guru, Hari Prasad Chaurasia, speaks of as someone who has been taught by God. A master performer in the Indian classical music and hailed as the creator of a new instrument called the Indian cello. It is an honor to have Saskia amongst us and enthralling us with a performance even. It is my privilege to introduce to you also Sharon, to my left. Sharon Lowen.
I'll just introduce everyone.
Would you please?
We have the PowerPoint. Can I have the next slide, please? Yes, and
Do you need this?
I think I need this. And if it's possible to put these two things in front of here, or
Yes.
either hold it. Yeah. Just, yeah. Well, a good afternoon to everyone. We're just trying to set up some form of sound that you can hear us. I am incredibly honored to introduce, yes, that would be great. And where's this clicker? Yeah. To introduce my panel with you. Yes, Guru Sharon Lowen does not need an introduction. She has performed at every major festival in India and abroad, all over the world. She is a complete performer, artist, art researcher, writes for many of the leading newspapers. She is absolutely a very dear friend and amazing artist. Then, next to her, Marie Elangovan, a Bharatanatyam dancer of wonderful repute, has her own dance school here as well, and performed for the President of India as well. And next to me, my dear friend, Nathalie Ramirez. You can hear her both at Indian classical festivals as well as the Piano Man with her special Bolly jazz concept. Now, I wanted to play a short, very short piece for you, which I think yes, shall we put this here? I'll just play a 1 minute of Rag Durga. Durga, the quintessential female power, the goddess whom we all look up to. And I love that part in Indian culture. She is the strongest. She can beat any guy without any problem. So a short Rag Durga. I speak easier when I have my instrument. That's my tool. And I think that whether it's dance or music, that is who we are really. Now, what is the history of Indian music as a global art form? Because we are all representatives of that. Early 20th century, we had Uday Shankar with his dance troupe who traveled all over the world. Then, of course, the 60s, so his youngest brother, Pandit Ravi Shankar, and the teacher of my husband, making ways into the US and all over the world with Indian classical music. Now, what is unique now is that it's not only anymore Indian artists, but it has become a part of world heritage. And since we are at a World Economic Forum, the arts is a very underused economic tool to uplift societies, to uplift people, apart from being a huge industry for not just entertainment, but education, community work, business workshops. We work in all of these parts. Now, I started in the Netherlands learning Indian classical music from none other than Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia, who guided me initially. Another role, of course, is that of performer, composer, all over the world as an Indian artist, both as a soloist as well together as a duet with my husband, and creating this tiny little cello, the Indian cello I've called it. So another part of my work has become music education. How can we empower people through music? We need to professionalize it. So we started a company, a startup, a musical education private limited, with which the curriculum that I created, we sell it to schools. Too often we think arts should be free, there's no money in it. Well, within 1 or 2 years of the startup, we were doing quite well already. So there is a need. However, we need to help artists become the cultural entrepreneurs that they were born to be. So I'm really happy that way to share our views and our stories here. Here, this is the result of our curriculum. The stress levels within a year came down from all the teachers. The students were engaged in school again. The entire school communities change whenever we adapt this curriculum. So it's an investment that has huge returns to adapt a good music curriculum in the schools. Then, of course, a lot of social work as well with hospitals, with other NGOs, where we work together to uplift communities through singing together, playing music together, which creates a bond that few other activities can do. It instills confidence and it instills a group sentiment that cannot be underestimated. So now art matters to all of us, and I would like to invite our next speaker, dancer, artist, Marie Elangovan.
As Saskia ji was expressing so beautifully, there is so much of potential for artists and art to reach far and wide. In fact, we are at a very interesting juncture now in India because the CBSE drew guidelines for art integration into the school education. And I believe, I don't know if it's a rumors, but some school principal told me that from next year onwards, dance, music, visual arts of all kind won't be considered as a extracurricular activity, but as a subject per se. It's yet, I think, to be confirmed, but there is talks regarding that. Nevertheless, there is tremendous work which is done from the CBSE side, which will give, I think, art its right values, because it's not just a mean of entertainment, but it's something which is essential for our well-being and happiness, and for us to lead better life. And I think that the CBSE is on the right way. And I'm really delighted as a art lover that this is taking place at this moment. It's a pleasure for me and a privilege to be here today. My love story with dancing began as a child when I was attending ballet classes. It's many years later that I was introduced to Bharatanatyam. As I was a student at Université de Montréal, I witnessed a performance of Bharatanatyam. And its beauty blew me away. I felt that deep connection with its spiritual aspect as well. I was fortunate to be introduced to my guru while he was on a visit to Montreal, Guru K.J. Govindarajan. He instantly created a strong impact on my mind, and I wished that one day I would be his disciple. As he agreed to take me under his tutelage, soon after that, I was traveling to Delhi in the peak of summer in the month of May, despite my guru and his family warning me against it. I thought that if I had to master this complex and divine art form, I should be ready to face any challenges. Extreme heat was one such challenge. This is how Guru K.J. Govindarajan became the guiding force behind my cherished dream of becoming a Bharatanatyam dancer. It's also at that time that I came to understand how deep and profound was the Guru-Shishya tradition of India, which I find no equivalent anywhere in in my country of origin, which is Canada. I realized that learning dance under the watchful eyes of my guru, was much more than learning an art form. The guru very presence reflects the Shishya's aspirations, It quietens the mind, which leads to a higher level of creativity and self-belief. As I recollect, dancing in the serene presence of my guru was a great source of joy and inspiration. I had my Anangitram performance, that is the dance graduation in dance, in classical dance, in 1993. It marks the completion of a basic training in Bharatanatyam for a dancer. Shortly after that, I started my career as a professional dancer, giving public performances and starting teaching as well with the blessing of my guru. I eventually also got married to my guru's second son, Ilangovan, who since then has not just been a life partner to me, but a wonderful co-artist to work with. In the ups and downs of life, I consider myself lucky to have him as a friend and companion. One of my favorite quotes is by Rumi, and it goes as follows. You dance inside my heart, H-E-A-R-T, where no one sees you, but sometime I do. This sight becomes this heart, A-R-T. It all starts with love. It all starts from within. Today, I'll dance for you a short excerpt of a Radha Krishna bhajan, Aaj Aaye Sham Moana. Here, the choreography describes the excitement of Radhas on the arrival of a beloved Lord Krishna. A longing to be with Krishna is a metaphor for the soul longing for spiritual fulfillment. To me, it is as simple as just saying that it represents our inner need for a fulfilling life and to experience joy and beauty within. So for you today, Aaj Aaye Sham Moana. Thank you.
आज आई शाम मोहन आज आई शाम मोहन आज आई शाम मोहन आज आई शाम मोहन रास मंडल रास मंडल खेलने आज आई शाम मोहन रास मंडल खेलने आज आई शाम मोहन मोहन मोहन
I think we can do better than that. A big hand for Marie. Wonderful. Yes. And now, the beautiful Nathalie Ramirez. Do you want to start with some music?
Okay. So I wasn't very sure of what I was going to play, but then while Elena was dancing, then I thought that okay, this is I was having in mind a particular raga that it talks about longing and waiting for your lover. This rag is Bhageshri, and it happened to be that she was dancing about Krishna, which also I didn't know. It came as a very pleasant surprise to me. And I will tell you more about Krishna, because you probably know the obvious relation between Krishna and Bansuri. So I'm just going to play 1 minute of Rag Bhageshri.
Again, yes, give a big hand to the gorgeous Nathalie Ramirez.
Thank you. So I will just quickly speak about my journey. So I was asked by Saskia, what brings you to India? And I think that's a question that all of us have been asked at least 100 times throughout the times that we have been here. And I just have to say that you never know where life is going to take you. But if you are sure of what you want to do, if you are sure of what are you passionate about, life will open doors for you. And that was exactly what happened, actually. I started studying with a disciple of Saskia's husband, which is like things got related, like are always related, and the world is so small that we were always related in one way, and we are again together in this time, in this day. So I always have a very pleasant experience, like she was also speaking about her experience in the Guru Shishya system, which is basically when you are learning from a guru and then you go directly to him and then you take classes from him. And not only that, but you also learn about life from him. You also learn about the philosophy of Indian culture and the deepness and the richness of Indian culture and what it has to offer, not only for Indians, but also for anyone from all over the world, like you can see. So there was only one time in which somebody said, because you won't see many women that play bansuri or that maybe are into music, especially if it's a foreigner. So only one time somebody asked me, I was in a concert and there was somebody else performing, somebody else was playing bansuri, and I was just carrying my bansuris, I was coming from class. And they asked me like, oh, so you have some bansuris there, so do you play bansuri? And I said, yes, sir, I play bansuri. But how come you're a woman? Like, and I said, yeah, I mean, but I play bansuri. And so whom are you learning from? And I said, okay, I learned from Kailash Sharma. He's my guru, and yeah, I learned from him here in Delhi. And I said, but how can you play bansuri? Your hands are so small. And he said, well, I manage quite well, and I haven't, had any problems till now, so I'm very happy with it. And so he was very surprised about it. I think he didn't mean it in a mad way, honestly. I just want to think like that he didn't mean it in a bad way. He was just surprised, because I think in many occasions it just happened to be, like we said in the past, that we don't have role models that are women into Indian music, right? And which is completely fine, because it is what it is. Its history is part of what the culture has been for us. But it's nice that, I got a big inspiration from both men and women, and men gurus as well as women gurus. And I can say that it is not limited to any gender, like you can really see. And that, like my journey, that is still, it's not over yet. I only have been here for a few years, not as many as these beautiful ladies. But that it has been a great learning for me, and it has been a great opportunity for me to be in India and understand this culture and being able to transmit it through my music. So I hope that we can hear more about that from the other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. It's so true. I mean, what all you say, we all recognize that. And I'm sure Sharon can give what all we have said in a beautiful perspective, because she has been here longer than all of us.
45 years.
Yeah.
Thank you, and good afternoon. So, with the soul-satisfying music and dance that we've just heard, I think there's absolutely no question about how the performing arts contribute to our gross national happiness. Yes. And I want to share a quote or two that I love. Plato said, "To sing well and to dance is to be well educated." You know, for those of us that do not come from a traditional family of artists or musicians, the fact that we have devoted our lives to this means that during our early formative years, we had transformational experiences. We were affected by things that we imbibed, that we saw, and that we wanted the opportunity to create that and share that with others. It's so important that this exposure happens during the years when you're forming the things that are a part of your life, and not something that you discover when you go to university that become other and exotic. For those of you, most of you are of a generation where your parents knew the difference between Kathakali and Bihu because the only television was Doordarshan. And today, it's actually very heartbreaking for us who are so in love and imbibed with Indian Sanskriti to meet young people who have had no exposure because of this narrow thrust in fine English medium, getting your education, not with a background, and they feel shy and embarrassed. It's like, I don't actually know what you do, you know. I mean, you know me from page 3. You haven't seen me dancing. You don't know the difference between Odissi and Bharatanatyam, but it's not your fault, because you need to have this exposure, and you need to discover it on your own. This is definitely, being here at the age of 70 as a senior Odissi classical dancer was certainly not my life goal. I'm not stupid. I am lucky, but I'm not stupid. When I was 13, I decided that I would not be a dancer because I loved ballet, I loved modern dance, but I also loved literature and arts and puppetry and theater and psychology and sociology and politics. And dance seemed to be something, like with music, that needs to exclude virtually everything else because of the amount of practice. I said, I just can't do that. But I kept going, doing everything. By chance, what is chance? Chance means that whatever step you take, it will lead to the next step. It actually doesn't really matter which direction you step in, because one path is not better than another. My mother wanted me to be a lawyer because I could convince a redneck lawyer that the war in Vietnam was wrong, and he was for it. She said, you should be a lawyer then. And I said, Mom, I'd be human rights, not corporate, and it would be miserable. When I came to India as a Fulbright scholar, I came to continue Manipuri dance. Obviously, I did not intend to be a Manipuri dancer, but I wanted a cultural entree. What I have discovered, as I say, is that you do something that you love, and the trope, the stereotype, follow your passion, which as a parent, one would say to your children, don't do that. Don't do that. We want you to survive. We want you to eat. But being a third-rate engineer and having a miserable life is really not as good as being a first-rate filmmaker or designer and basically following your passion. What I have discovered is that, as I say, wherever you step, the next step will lead to that. I came here, I did my Manipuri, I went in circles, and then I discovered other things. I extended my grant, I explored, and I grew. I wanted to do more. I went back to the States to see what I could do. After I had done 250 school programs, concerts, and been teaching, and actually wore out a costume, I said, okay, it's not a self-indulgence, I'll do a little more. One step. I'm a woman, I wanted to have a child. Being on a fellowship, I could afford to be pregnant. Come back and learn. Eventually, when my daughter was school age, I had to say, where do I want to be? I can't keep traveling back and forth. And so I said, I will stay in India as long as I'm welcome and doing something worthwhile. Some people would say that you need courage. I would say that you need naivete more than you need courage. I think every woman here, and most of the men, when you're young and you have a passion and you want to do something, you do it. And I was saying to Saskia earlier, it's like you do what you're doing, you get somewhere, and then you look back and you realize that whereas others complain that they were banging on doors and couldn't get them open, you actually have gone through brick walls, and you didn't even realize it until you look back and see the rubble. But you don't do it because you had courage. No one's going to attack a brick wall. But you're just pushing because of that drive and that energy, and you love it, and you want to share it, you want to do it, and you keep going forward. And fortunately, if you do that, you will get the support. In the 90s, after I had a measure of success, I came here in 73. At that time, the only foreigners were mostly hippies. Nobody thought of an international artist. There were international students. It's a nice compliment. You're interested in our culture. But with very few exceptions, there was a John Higgins, there was a somebody, you know, Indrani's mother, Ragini, total mad woman, beautiful artist. People didn't accept. I created a Videshi Kalaka Utsav, and Marie was one of the artists who performed. And after that, there was an acceptance that non-natives could be artists as well as students. But it was just like a logical thing to do, that I wanted to share that. Saskia said I should mention some things I've done, because I forget about them. I'm the first woman who did chow, Meyerbench chow in North America. I danced at the Festival of Festival of India. I did 22 performances with my guru and the composers of the music for Odissi. I've done many programs for Doordarshan, chow, which isn't recognized as classical, being able to do things as national programs that couldn't have been done otherwise. Is there anybody here from Andhra Pradesh? Ah, wonderful. Oh, I'm so glad. Because I was in a film in 1988 by K. Vishwanath called Swarnakamalam. And in that, I played myself. And I inspired Bhanupriya to value her arts tradition. And the reason why I say I'm glad I didn't do a Hindi film. There is not a single person, and I don't mean to be bragging, it's true. There's nobody in Andhra who doesn't know me. And this was in '88. They still recognize it. When the film came out, I ran into an Aya in Frankfurt Airport when I was pushing my pram, wearing glasses, and she said, "I just saw your film," you know. And even today, I'll meet anybody, and they'll be like, "Oh, wow," because he was such a great filmmaker, and he did things with such a wonderful emphasis on the arts. So it's wonderful that we have the opportunity to be a part of this, and the vitality of doing these arts in India and internationally and sharing them. And also, of course, to inspire young people, because we're not just another old auntie saying you should do it. We had options, and we're doing it because we really wanted to. Now, I have disciples who are professional artists, but I also have dancers who are in their 30s, their 40s, and their 50s. Someone will do a classical dance performance for their 50th birthday party for all of their friends. Another friend who is a corporate headhunter, she's giving her solo program on the 29th at IIC. And she just loves to dance. So dance is something that there's a saying, if you're happy, you should dance, and if you're not happy, you should dance. So I encourage all of you to dance, all of you not to be afraid of your sons and daughters dancing, and please take everyone in your family to the performances here in Delhi, that you realize this is the only capital in the entire world where programs are free.
Yeah, true.
You do not have to be a financial wizard or a heart surgeon to go to the ballet or to go to a classical program or to go to anything. And that is really, to me, the most amazing and wonderful thing as a theater goer, not as an artist. We would like that people bought tickets and valued it. But I also just love still to go and to see things. And so I just share with you. And the fact is that the art that we're doing is something that we're sharing an inner world that is universal. And it's wonderful to be a part of that, and that's why we're all here.
Thank you. That's beautiful, Sharon. Thank you so much for sharing. I think for sharing that, Sharon. And I think what we have shown is music indeed does have no boundaries, nor has following your passion. And I think we also need a dialogue with the corporate world and artists. Bring more art in your companies. Have people dance together, have people sing together, learn an instrument. The kind of team building you do with arts is amazing. We do that often with different companies as well, from youngest children to all young at heart. Thank you so much. And thanks, my wonderful panel.
Questions? What's the time, girl? Okay. Shall we do 2 questions?
If there are any questions, we can take that. We have often with the school programs, children ask the most wonderful things. Yes, no. Oh, yes, a question there.
So it is to all of you. I see that a very essential part of being an artist is practicing patience. Because you can't learn an art, you have to fail umpteen number of times to get even a hand movement or that breath that you put into the flute the right way. In today's time where children want an overnight success, how do you think parents should encourage children to learn art?
They have to encourage them, and it is exactly what you say. This is the importance of learning arts. It's not being on the stage and being a part of little ustads or saregama. Parents need to realize that the patience, the lessons of patience that we learn through our classical arts, whether it's dance or music, that is why exactly I started the Sangeet for All music curriculum. That is why Sharon has so many students. We all teach as well because we feel passionate about leaving it to the next generation.
It's a very important question, and the arts are a brilliant way. I had one really fuss-budget little girl who was coming with her elder sister, and now she's become, I mean, she's still who she is, but she's calm, she's focused, she's disciplined, because dance is a yoga. You're controlling your breath, you're controlling your energy, you're mindful. It brings together all of the things you tie together, the mind and the body and the heart, your soul, everything together. I mean, what you do when you're exercising, why not do it with something that has depth, which engages your mind, which has a spiritual content? And I do not encourage students to be quickly getting into costumes and getting on stage. That's not what it's about. I do believe in stage practice because you learn things when you perform that you don't get in the class. But the appropriate place would be to dance, say, in a temple, to dance for your friends at school or something. There are many opportunities without it being just about dress up. I mean, we all love dress up. And the other thing, of course, is that practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You know?
Sorry. I just quickly would like to add that also I have discovered in my teaching that sometimes kids actually like to be challenged. You know, so when we are playing with them, and if we tell them that, okay, there is this challenge or a small game that we can do, like let's say today you can learn these 2 notes and make a song with these 2 notes. What about if tomorrow I'm going to play this song to you, maybe tomorrow or next week you can play this song. Would you like to learn that song? So it's not about that to tell them that, okay, you're going to learn an instrument, but you need patience. Are you ready for it? No, I mean, we don't want to scare anyone, right? It's not about telling them that this is going to be something serious, right? Music, dance is not serious. It's like mathematics also, you know? If we teach mathematics with fun, children will love mathematics all the time, right? So it's about like how you make it fun for them, which is something that Saskia has a program for that. And you make it fun for them, and you also make it challenging maybe for them, or make it a community thing also. Many children like to play together, you know. I don't want to go on a stage alone, but if we all play together, then I'm happy, you know. So it's about understanding what they want to do, how they want to play, and how you can make them learn through playing, making understanding their age, you know.
Well, I would say that heart is meant to be experienced, so it is not competitive by essence. It has to be experienced, it has to be enjoy. So it's a breath of fresh air to practice any art form in today's world. It's why it's imperative for children and also adults to indulge into the practice of art, to make art part of their life. The experience of any practice of art is timeless. It connects us with our origin, the present, the future which will be. So it is a moment of eternity which we can taste throughout our daily routine. It doesn't make us artists disconnected from the world, but it makes us carry something which is far beyond the worldly preoccupations and routine, and which imbibes all what we do throughout the day. And I think it's important for everyone to have a chance in their lifetime to get a taste of that. Because once you do, then life perspective changes drastically. And I think that everything else becomes a bit like a play. So we don't associate our, it could be a financial crisis, because as artists, we know what means financial crisis, okay? So we learn to deal with it very smoothly because we have this in us to be contented with what we are doing. And this is what art teaches us. And I would also like to say that I don't believe in talent. I believe that heart starts in the mind, heart starts in the heart, and that everyone is gifted. I do believe everyone is gifted. I have sometimes parents coming asking me that, do you think my daughter has the talent to learn dance? And I says, give her some time, don't ask me. I need to see the child, I need to see that she enjoys what she's doing. If she enjoys what she's doing, if you're there to support her as parents, and if I'm there to share my passion with her, I'm sure that eventually she will develop into a beautiful dancer. So give us some time. So I always put a stop when parents come to me saying, how is she doing, how is she doing? I says, excuse me, don't ask me such question before the next 6 months or 1 year. If there's any problems, I'll tell you. The problem will come if your daughter doesn't enjoy. Oh, but she's very naughty, let her be naughty. We have to channelize her energy. We cannot suppress. We have to let her be. And slowly she will gain this interest in arts, and she will get drawn towards the guru, listening to instruction, practice diligently and all that. So I believe that everyone is gifted. And one more thing as a dancer that I want to tell you is that there is no body type which is right or wrong for dancing. Okay, we are all beautiful as women. I do believe in this. I have so many students, as Sharonji has, and I see all of them as very beautiful, and there is no right or wrong. There is not a body type which is more appropriate than another for dance. It is how you develop the beauty in the movements, and how you carry yourself, and how you feel about yourself, which touch people's hearts. And that is what our mission as artists is about. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you to my wonderful panel. Thank you. And thank you, Mansi, Harbin. Thank you all for being here. What a unique opportunity to share who we are and who we want to be in this beautiful forum. Thank you for facilitating.
Thank you, Saskia, and our dear, dear soul sisters with so much wisdom. Really, you touched everybody's heart, and there will be some children who will be allowed henceforth to pursue their passion and contribute as artists to our economy, to our society, to the enrichment of humanity and our values. So this moment is no less, is causing a revolution in somebody's heart somewhere, because what you're saying is resonating with so many. My background is in theater, and so I could connect to all that you were saying, and my parents are here, and I remember when I went for my PhD to Paris, actually. You came to India, I went to Paris to do my work in French theater, and everybody at home was like, is there like a PhD in theater? Does it exist? so I think, so we are creating the new possibilities, and we are embodiments of those possibilities in flesh, blood, soul, heart, spirit, mind. So thank you for sharing all of that with such love and care. And really, I couldn't have imagined a better finish to this wonderful day one of the 32nd edition of the Women Economic Forum in Gurugram. So thank you with all my heart. Thank you so much.
Saskia, I invite you to accompany Harbeen in giving away our very first award. We'd like to call upon and celebrate Sharon Lowen. Please put your hands together for this legacy of a woman. We honor her as a woman of the decade in arts leadership. A celebrated international Odissi dancer. It's been an honor. Calling upon Maria Langovan to accept this honor as the Exceptional Woman of Excellence at the Women Economic Forum on behalf of the All Ladies League. Please don't stop. Use your tum-tums. We invite Nathalie Ramirez to accept this honor as the Exceptional Woman of Excellence.